Golly, that's good.
I cracked myself up. Still haven't found my first Blanton's. That's different. I really like that.
They're like together, like peas and carrots.
That's funny. Sometimes accidents are good things. Peychauds or Pechauds or Pechaw. This is not what I expected. Hey gang, how are you? It is Thursday and it's regular Bourbcast night. We were here just a couple nights ago. We did the Von Payne. Had a blast with that. That was a lot of fun. If you haven't seen that one, go back and check it out. But tonight, we're coming back on our regular night and doing... Now, I say that's a regular night, but there's a chance that here in a couple of weeks I'm going to take another Thursday off. It's just a thing. It's just a thing. It's just how it happens. Austin's watching. Hello. Tom's watching. Hello. You finally made it to one, Tom. Awesome. So tonight we're doing the Watershed. This is... Larry's watching too. Hey, all right, cool. And yeah, why's that? That's your thing. OHLQ has been doing barrel picks from this distillery for a while, but while this is a special barrel pick, it's not OHLQ's. This one is a special pick from the Maumee Valley Whiskey Society. As a matter of fact, they were put on intense pressure to get this thing sold. They had, I don't know, umpteen barrels of this thing, or bottles of this thing out of their barrel, and they had like 2 weeks to sell them all. And then OHLQ wanted them back, so Maumee Valley Whiskey Society apparently wouldn't compete with the Watershed barrel releases that OHLQ did in August. There were 6 of them, and they were all different, and this one is different than all of them because the proof point doesn't match up. This one is 118.2 proof, whereas the state barrel picks were all over 128 proof. So... this isn't theirs, but they didn't, I guess, want the competition or something like that. We didn't have a ton of them. I don't know, 55 bottles or something like that. It wasn't a lot. But they had like 2 weeks to get rid of them all, and I did get lucky and get some of this. Oh my. It's going to be one of those days where I should have looked ahead. There it is. There it is. Bill's watching. Hey, Bill. How are you, sir? Get this poured. I did try this, so I'm kind of cheating on you a little bit, but only a little bit, because this is the first time I've cracked my bottle of it. The bottle that I had, the taste that I had, was out of a bottle that they had at the Whiskey Society. I just remember it being good. I didn't really take the time to dig any notes out, because you're among other bourbon nerds. You know... If you've ever been in a room full of film directors, all of them want to talk about their projects and what made them special and what made them challenging and whatever else. They don't want to hear what you have to say. They just want you to hear what they had to say. And that's the way I feel when I get into a room full of bourbon nerds that all have similar levels of knowledge, maybe more than I do. And so I don't get in there and, I have flavors of this and this, Muffy, what do you think? You know, I don't do that stuff when I'm in a room full of bourbon nerds, because they know just as much as I do, and their palates are a little bit different, and they're going to be pulling out different things, and nobody wants to hear that stuff. We want to just enjoy it, sit together, and have fun. So I don't do that there. So I didn't really get a chance to pull out the notes while I was there. I'll do that tonight. Let's see, a little bit about this. All of Watershed's barrel releases are 100% distilled, aged, and bottled in Ohio. In March 2021, OHLQ partnered with Watershed for the first time, making Watershed their very first Ohio-based OHLQ barrel pick. It was a high rye, 116.2 proof, 3-grain bourbon with a number 5 char and 4 years in the barrel. Now, I did some checking on this tonight because I seem to remember there was an Ohio distillery that had a mash bill that was changed because it didn't do very well, and it wasn't well thought after. Now, again, everybody's palate's different. So, but I went on one of the social media things that I follow, and I asked the question. I said, does anybody know which one it was? Was it Watershed? And I got that back, and yes, it was Watershed. They used to have a 5-grain. It was corn, rye, wheat, malted barley, and then another wheat called Spelt, which is a type of wheat known for its robust flavors and relatively short shelf life. When OHLQ did this in 2021, they included that original barrel. That Watershed didn't have a whole lot of that original recipe left, but they did include that in that special, what they called Ohio Bourbon Treasure Hunt, and that was one of the barrels in the 6 that they picked. But since then, Watershed has changed their mash bill, and I understand it's now down to a 3 grain. I don't even think they do a 4 grain anymore. I could be wrong. There wasn't a lot of information online about Watershed. I wish I could have found a little bit more, but I think now it's a 3 grain mash bill. They did an uncut, unfiltered bourbon, published its mash bill at 72% corn, 21% rye, 7% malted barley. Then they did another limited edition called Two Souls, which is a special independent barreling and bottling from Two Souls Distilling, and they used their distillate in that, and that was also 72% corn, 21% rye, and 7% malted barley. So I have this suspicion, and I could be wrong completely, that that's what's in here. If this is down to a 3 grain and they got rid of the 4 grain, the wheat altogether, that's what's in here. I'm guessing. Couldn't get confirmation on it, but that's what I think. And I don't think it says anywhere on the bottle. Every bottle has a story, custom copper still, custom char number 5 barrels. It's a 4-year. Matures 1 day at a time. Distilled from grain. And this one has the Maumee Valley Whiskey Society logo on it, not the OHLQ. If you care to try it, I still have some of that original Watershed. What do you think of it? When I was doing my research, a lot of people seem to be really happy to get rid of the Spelt. But some people said, I actually kind of liked it. I guess it's really good for baking. That type of wheat is really good for baking. It's got like a lot more flavor than a white flour, and it's enriched or something like that. I don't bake. I have no idea. I don't know. But Austin, if you're offering, I'd be willing to put it back to back. I'll save a sample of this for you too, and we'll share. You can come over if you want to. I don't care. Come hungry. I'll make dinner. Let's see. What else about this? So this one was released in August this year, 2023, just in time for those cool night pours of the fall. All Watershed spirits are available to taste and purchase at the bottle shop, located on site at the distillery in Grandview near Columbus. And they do have some distillery-only special releases. And Spencer, welcome to the show. Thanks for watching. Watershed is a micro-distillery in Columbus, founded in 2010 by business partners Greg Lehman and Dave Rigo. In 2019, Lehman bought out Rigo, and Rigo went to work leading a high-end pork company that Lehman started. So they get along just fine. They just decided it was time to do something different. The head distiller as of 2021 is Aaron Harris. Earlier this year, Watershed was acquired by Marussia Spirits, which is primarily a distribution company. So you have to wonder if this might help Watershed push its products beyond the 6 states that it's currently found in. So that's what I know about Watershed, which isn't a whole lot, but it's a little bit, and it may be more than somebody who was watching knows. And now it's time to put it to the test and see. All right. Again, I have tried this, but I have not been able to give it the notes. So let's just let's dig in. Special pick from the Maumee. That's why I'm wearing this sweatshirt again, and it's cold out now, so I'm not going to roast down here in my basement wearing my Maumee Valley Whiskey Society sweatshirt like I did last time. I was roasting. This thing's a warm sweatshirt, and I probably won't leave it on until I'll wear it till after the Bourbcast is over, and then I'm going to chuck it because it is warm. It is a warm sweatshirt. If you're looking for some gear that's warm, I'll probably wear this hunting. It's warm. Have I mentioned that it's... Okay. Austin says... Sorry, Austin, I got to put my eyeballs on. It wasn't all that popular as I recall. Yeah, me too. This is the first, other than the swallow that I had at the Maumee Valley Whiskey Society, this is the first Watershed I've ever purchased because I had heard it wasn't good. And then I heard the mash bill changed and it was better. So now I'm interested. I almost didn't buy this one. And then he said, no, dude, you got to get this one. So, okay, I trust those guys. So the original carried like a certain musty pine-like character about it. Oof. I've had musty. I don't think I've had musty pine-like. Except for like in gins. That's gross. Well, I'm glad they changed, and I'm glad they're succeeding. And in 2019, when they split, they had like $6 million worth of value. And now, let's see, in 2019, I guess they were projected to do $1.5 million in sales or something like that, and they're continuing to grow. And now that they've got distribution behind them, they're going to grow even more. So, you know, Ohio is really, when the wine craze started, I don't know, this would have been 2011, 2012, 2010, 2010 I think is when the wine craze in Ohio really started. They were converting all the lands down south that used to be tobacco lands into vineyards. And they were building vineyards up on Lake Erie as well. They were going crazy with it. And they went from like, I don't know, 80 wineries in the state of Ohio to like 140 almost overnight. It was insane. And they were, like I said, the down south, they were converting lands that used to be tobacco lands because tobacco is, it's susceptible to black rot. And there's so many hills down there that there's certain things you can't plant. Like you can't do row crops in southern Ohio, but you can do vineyards and you can do tobacco because that's just a different type of thing. It's not a row crop. I guess it can be, but it doesn't have to be. You sit. So I visited wineries all over the state as part of something that I was doing for video with the Ohio Grape Industries Committee. And we had a blast. I think we checked out like 26 different wineries, and it was so much fun. Well, fast forward, and 2020 hits, and COVID hits, and all of a sudden there's not enough spirits for anybody. You know, you used to be able to buy a E.H. Taylor right off the shelf, and you can't do it anymore. Unless, you know, they give you a special allocation. There's 6 of them, and then they're gone in 5 seconds. So now the micro distillery craze is growing. There's distilleries coming up all around me. So I'm thinking about doing it. I don't know how to do it. Maybe I'll source from MGP like everybody else does. I have ideas. I think I've got a good enough palate. I can pick out a good product. I don't know. We'll see. All right. Right off the bat, I'm getting a little cotton candy, a little orange. That's not to say this is going to be a sweet pour. It might be. But right, that's the first thing I got off the nose. It's a light cinnamon. It's not a heavy cinnamon. It's in there, but it's really light. Wow. I mean, for 118 proof, it's not, there's not a lot of ethanol in the nose. And it hasn't set out of the, this is the first crack, you saw me open it, and it hasn't sat outside for very long, just a couple of minutes. What was that? It's somewhere in between toffee and caramel, or caramel, if you have a degree. You said it with me, didn't you? I'm going to start a drinking game. Whenever you hear me do a catchphrase, caramel, if you have a degree, you drink. Whatever it is you have next to you, that's what you drink. There's another one coming up when we get into the ice. You know what that's going to be. All right. Definitely a light, possibly salted caramel. The oak is nice on that. It's amazing this is a number 5 char. because it's not dark enough to give me a number. I mean, just it's 4 years, but you'd think a number 5 char, this thing would be a lot darker. A little vanilla on it, just a hint, maybe just a skosh of honey, but I could be mistaking that with the with that caramel. That cinnamon is just, it's right there, baking spices type of thing, but not overly rye heavy. All right. Okay, here we go. Whew. 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 Okay. Ha. I didn't let it bloom. I should have, and I didn't. Because I was exploring a flavor that I got as soon as I put it on the palate. I got pear right on the palate. That just exploded to me in a pear. I did not write down any tasting notes. I didn't read any tasting notes. Because what's the point? There's going to be no other whiskey like this out there. The Maumee Valley Whiskey Society pick was not like the OHLQ picks. It was not like any other single barrel pick they've had. This is very specific to the Maumee Valley Whiskey Society. So it didn't make sense for me to look for anybody else's notes because they're not going to be the same. And they wouldn't be the same if they were the same thing anyway because everybody has a different palate. So that was a predominant flavor that I got off that without even getting into it very far. Even dealing with that bloom and that first hit. I got pear, like heavy-duty pear. And Chris is watching. Hey, Chris, how are you, sir? Welcome to the big shoe. Wow. And Joanna's watching. Hey, how are you? The nose is amazing. That's right. You're part of the Maumee Valley Whiskey Society. You've had a chance to try this. Hopefully not recently. She is with child, with first child. When is that due, Joanna? When's that gonna say hi to the world? So excited for you. That's right. You can taste the nose. I mean, you can do the nose, but you can't taste it, right? So eventually, hopefully, hubby saved you some, and you can try it soon after. It won't take too much to send you over the loop because it's been a while since you've had anything to drink. All right. Flavors. Flavors, flavors, flavors. Trent's watching. Hey, Trent. Thanks for tuning in. Yes, it is some good stuff, and I'm drinking it, and I'm enjoying it. The first thing I got off of the first drag was pear, right on the front. The mouthfeel on this has got a beautiful viscosity. It's almost like it's unfiltered. I don't think that it is unfiltered, but it almost is like it is. Yeah, it doesn't say that it is. I don't think that it is. But it has got... Michael's watching. Landon's watching. Hey, how are you? Gonna grab a pour of it now for myself. Trent, do it. Don't let this sit on your shelf. Go get some and drink with me. The mouthfeel on this, the viscosity, is very, very buttery. Now, there are different levels of mouthfeel, right? You might say silky. Silky is a very smooth. Then soft is not as nice as silky. It's soft mouthfeel, silky mouthfeel, and you get into buttery. That's where the viscosity tends to be, and this is a horrible word. I don't like using it, but oily. You might say it's oily. That's a terrible word to use. But imagine what your mouth might feel like if you tried, I don't know, like a light olive oil or something like that, right? That would be way too oily. But it's that viscosity that you get, and it's what I like about having unfiltered bourbons is a lot of times there's that big butteriness. This is probably the most buttery of any higher proof And I'd have to go back and research everything. I'd have to go back through my memories and watch some videos again from what I did. But this is about as buttery as they get with a high proof bourbon. I love the flavors. The finish is a little on the fruity side as well. It's not a super long finish, but I'm getting a little bit more of that pear on the finish. Let's go back to it. Try to walk you all the way through it because the mouthfeel is incredible. Really, really like it. And some people don't like a really thick, buttery mouthfeel, but boy, I tell you what, I like to know that it's there. You know, I just really like it that way. Golly, that's good. Okay. There's another drink if you hear it. Golly, it's good. Definitely pear, caramel. Vanilla. Hey, how you doing, Joe? Thanks for joining us. As we get into this a special barrel pick from the Maumee Valley Whiskey Society of the Watershed Single Barrel. This came out August of this year, or was released to them. The barrel was tried and released to them in August of this year. I think they tried it a couple of months prior to that. And this is one incredible pour. And I don't remember it being this good after it had been opened. I don't remember the butteriness. No, I had a couple other pours that night, so it's not fair for me to lump it all in and be able to pick it out, you know. So that pear just continues all the way through the finish. I'm getting it right here in the sides of my cheeks. I'm going to try to walk you all the way through this. I get distracted by how good it is. Try again. If you get a chance to go to Watershed and get a single barrel, get it. I mean, I don't imagine there'd be a whole lot of differences between them. Now, I say that knowing that there are significant differences between single barrels sometimes. But, I mean, OHLQ did their 6th this year. And they all have their own notes. They're all a little bit different. It's a single barrel. I mean, every barrel is going to be a little bit different. But, and Maumee Valley Whiskey Society, when they did their pick, they had their pick of, 10, 12, 15 barrels that they could choose from. That's how many Ohio chose from, is 15 different barrels to find their 6. So I guess they kept going back and saying, no, this isn't quite it. This isn't quite. And I don't know how many barrels the Maumee Valley Whiskey Society actually tried. But this one, Tom. Hey, Tom Hickson. How are you, sir? Thank you for joining. This is, I'm glad we've got a full crowd here. That's awesome. But they went back and they tried it. No, I don't want that one. No, I don't want that one. No, I don't want that one. And they continued to go until they found the one that they wanted. And they all agreed. There was a group that went down and they had a consensus. And so if you go down and you get a single barrel of your own, it'll probably be damn good. Don't get me wrong. Will it be this one? No. But it'll be damn good. All right. I mean, darn good. All right. There's that cotton candy on the front. It's got a cotton candy sweetness to it, right on the front. Gosh. And that pear is there, and there's something else. Now that I'm down to just a swallow, I'm taking smaller sips. I'm going to say just a little bit, just a skosh. You got to find it. And a smaller sip might have done it. Just a skosh of milk chocolate on that. All right. Okay, one more. I have one more little taste. Letting my palate settle down. There's just so much going on. There's another fruit there. You get into those teeny tiny sips and little expressions come out that don't come when you take a big swig like I sometimes do. Like I often do. And I want to say I caught the sweetness of like maybe a blackberry. They're misnamed. Blackberry doesn't sound that sweet, but they really, really are. And the more ripe they get, the more sweet they are. And I'm thinking that that is a little bit of blackberry. I'm still getting a lot of pear. That's the first thing I get on the palate. A lot of citrus there. Chris is saying, have a great night, gotta run. Sounds like a bottle I will have to look for soon. Chris, I don't know if you're going to be able to find it now. I don't know. You'll have to check in with Joe Carter or Chris Webb or the rest of the gang at the Maumee Valley Whiskey Society to see if they have any left. This may have been one that sold out. I think their new riff pick sold out. So I'm not going to give you any guarantees that they're going to have any of this. You might check with one of those guys and see if they can give you a sample. But do check and see if there's any left over. They've got some other stuff that they have coming in. They're continuing to do picks. I think they did, 6 picks this year. That's a lot. For anybody. I mean, OHLQ doesn't do that many, I don't think. They might. But you might check with them and just see if they have any left over, or if a member has one that they want to sell. I say that in jest. Nobody's going to sell one of these. Okay, let's do water, shall we? Yes, we shall. Again, this was just a special group pick, and it didn't last very long. They had no, you know what? They're definitely going to have not going to have any left over, Chris, and it's because OHLQ made them send their unsold bottles back. They didn't get to take advantage of the entire pick. They sold a number of bottles. They did really well with it, but there were still bottles that were left over, and they had to send them back. Because OHLQ in just a couple of weeks was going to be releasing their 6, and they didn't want to compete. So talk to them. See if anything can be done. There's more coming down the pike. 2024. Good night. Time just goes so fast. 2024 is going to be a particularly busy year for the Maumee Valley Whiskey Society. I'm getting out of water in here. I got to fill this back up. And if you're in the Northwest Ohio corridor, you might check them out. They do have memberships available, so you can be like the first in line for their special picks. You can have access to their lounge, which is really actually very cool. And they've got all sorts of bourbons there that people have brought. You're welcome to try them. That doesn't mean you should sit there and get toasted, because you still got to drive away unless you want to sleep on the floor that night, which you still shouldn't do. Anyway, so Jordan is watching. Hey, Jordan, how are things down under? And I just say down under because he's in Florida, which is down under when you're in Ohio. Good day. Yeah. He says good day. All right, so this is after adding a little water to it. Ken's watching. Hey, Ken. I know it's not fair for me to do picks that you can't grab, right? But at the end of the day, and that's an idiom I hate using, but when all is said and done, there's another idiom I don't like to use. What's a... Ultimately, if it causes you to seek out a bottle of Watershed, particularly the single barrel, then I've done my job, right? I want you to try this. I think this particular pick is very, very good. And it's one that I need to leave down here out of my reach because I'll finish this bottle, man. Tell you what. All right. Jordan, I don't know if you'll be able to find Watershed in Florida. It's in 6 states. I don't know if Florida's one of them. So I guess I would say go to Watershed Distillery online and see if they ship, see what states have it, and start looking, because this is a good one. All right. With water. It brought everything down a little bit. The flavors are still there. The mouthfeel, it didn't change a lot. I would have been really concerned had it got into the syrupy range, which it did not. So I don't know that I'd tell you that water really changed it that much. Probably not, but I will certainly check. Good, Jordan, do that. Cade's watching. Hey, sir. Welcome to the show. Got a full house tonight. This is fun. I'm glad everybody's here. I won't keep you waiting too much longer. We're going to put this on ice, and then we're going to reveal what's next week. All right. It's nice on water. I like it better neat. Okay. All right, you ready for a buzz? A buzz phrase? You ready for a reason to drink? Gorgeous ice sphere. All right, I will be honest. This is a recycled gorgeous ice sphere. I did make a couple. I do have one that's brand new. But considering this is the second Bourbcast this week, with Halloween night, Tuesday, we did Von Payne, which was an unusual pour. I did like it. I didn't love it, but I liked it. Just because it's unusual, and I like to try all sorts of different things. It doesn't always have to fit my palate for me to say whether or not I like it. Some stuff I've just flat out hated, and you've seen me hate those. You've seen it. I tend to have a very wide palate. I tend to be very patient with the things that I try. Von Payne was one that, not everybody's going to be patient with. They're not going to like it. If you're used to that 80 proof Evan Williams, Von Payne's not for you. All right? If you buy that rot gut, stuff that's, $15 for a 1.75 liter, you're probably not going to like Von Payne. But if you like the Derringer, if you like Legent, if you like Angel's Envy Rye or Bourbon, the Von Payne is something you might look into. The way they do it, just real quick, the way they do it is they have their black currants, which is a fruit. And they, kind of like the Lincoln process, the Lincoln County process, where in Tennessee, they drip the whiskey down through charcoal, like 10 feet of charcoal. It's kind of like that, only probably not 10 feet of currants. I don't know how much, but they drip the whiskey through those black currants, that fruit. So when they say it's infused, it is. It's not flavored with this sugary goo. It's actually dripped down through black currants, and then what you get is what comes out, and it's unusual, but quite good. And there's a really nice blend, actually, between the whiskey and the fruit flavor. So I like how they do it. It's a Florida company. They have to source all their black currants. Lester is here. Katie, hey, you're welcome, man. And thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're here. We're going to go through the rest of this. This is the Watershed. We tried it neat. Then we tried it on water, which didn't really improve it a whole lot because it was freaking good to begin with. So let's see if it holds up on ice and whether or not I can recommend it on ice. This is one of those whiskeys that gets a little bit darker on ice. Gets a little more earthy. Some of the sweetness went away. There's still a little bit there. Definitely got more earthy. There's more of a leather feel to it. Leather, and it's not a bad thing. It's not bad. I actually appreciate leather in some of the pours that I have, and knowing that that's here makes me want to explore that next time I drink it neat, which will not be tonight because this is 118 proof. I have my limits. And this is supposed to be No Drink November. I've already had 2 Bourbcasts this week, and I had a meeting last night and alcohol was served, so No Drink November so far is coming off as a complete bust. I was going to do No Drink November and then choose the Thursdays as the one day a week I was going to have a drink, and so far it's only the second day of the month and I have failed miserably. So But there's always tomorrow. All right. Yeah, it's good. It's got nice flavors. It's not as sweet as it was. The viscosity definitely changed. The mouthfeel is not the same. It's not as buttery as it was. But you know, you cool it down and you water it down a little bit, and things are going to be different. Cooling is more what's happening than the watering, because these clear ice spheres melt a lot slower than a regular ice cube does. Okay, this is fantastic. This is a great pour. I really love it. So let's get into what's going to be happening next week, because I'm already 7 minutes over what I thought I would be, so let's get into it. We're going to start a short series next week. There's 2 of them I'm going to try. The first is going to be the Wilderness Trail. This is the single barrel. This will be next week. This is a bottled and bond single barrel. And then the week after that, we'll be doing the bottled and bond small batch. So excuse me, I'm sorry. This is going to be a quick series. Goodness gracious. Why don't I just stop and belch for a half hour? I remember, I think it was like the last 9 or 6 months that I was on the radio at this one particular radio station. And I was about to leave, and that last 6 months, I could not crack the microphone without sneezing. Every time I cracked it, I don't know if it was a psychosomatic response or if I was allergic to something, I don't know, but I'd be fine and dandy. I'd crack the mic, bring that pot up, and I'd have to say, hold on a second, guys, and then just blow my brains out. And it did end up ending before I left the job. And then I left there and went to another radio station, like part-time for 2 years while I built my video company up. And that problem went away. But I don't know, maybe this is the same thing. I'm psychosomatically belching. Or I'm just taking too big gulps and getting too much air. I don't know. Okay. So anyway, so next week is the single barrel. The week after that is going to be the small batch. It's a quick series with just 2 of them, but I've never reviewed these 2, and I need to. All right? So there you go. That's it. That is what we're doing next week. That's a little bit of that radio sound. That's what we call puking. So radio people shouldn't do that. All right, guys. If you find a bottle of the Watershed single barrel, get it. Particularly if it's like 118 proof or higher. OHLQ might still have some of those special picks on the shelves. If you find them, buy them. This is a really, really nice bourbon, and it's one of those distilleries that I haven't visited yet, but I need to. That in the Middle West, definitely need to start visiting some of these Ohio distilleries very, very soon. You guys have a great what's left of your week, and we will see you next Thursday for Wilderness Trail. Take care. Have a good one.